Welcome back to the Black and Yellow Podcast, where we discuss all things Steelers, except for today. Today we are going to be covering a requested topic, and that would be the Ravens versus Bills preview. In this game, we are going to be talking about the keys to victory for both teams, and how how the two teams compare to each other. Starting off with the keys to victory for the Ravens, what they need to do to secure a win on Sunday evening. The first one I got here is run the ball. They got to run the ball. Whether they hand it to Derrick Henry, whether they let Lamar Jackson scramble, that is one thing that they did extremely well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Against the Steelers, Derrick Henry had 26 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns for an average of 7.2 yards per carry. Lamar Jackson, he also had a good game. He had 15 rushing attempts for 81 yards for an average of 5.4 yards per carry. So, quite obviously, both teams did an exceptional job. Both players did an exceptional job running the football versus this Steelers defense. And I think they will do a really good job running the football against this Buffalo defense too. I think they're maybe not quite as successful as they were against Pittsburgh, but I think that's still going to be their main source of offense. Number 2, I have limit the turnovers. They did a great job with that. No turnovers against the Steelers, but Lamar Jackson's got to make sure he doesn't throw any picks, and Derrick Henry's got to hold on to the ball, which he does really well. The next one I have is I think Lamar Jackson, even though the running game's very successful, I think to be successful against this Buffalo defense, I think you need to mix in a little bit of throwing too. And they did against the Steelers. I just think that they knew that the running game was going to work, and it did. But I think against this Buffalo defense, they need to utilize the air a little bit more, use their their star tight end duo, and I think they also need to look for Bateman. I don't think Flowers is playing. He might be, but I don't think he is. You guys would probably know better than I would, but it is certainly possible that he does. But yeah, just throw the ball. Use both sides of the offense, because I think the Ravens are extremely dynamic in both ends. I think they're the most balanced offense in the league, between their running and their throwing game. So I think you really need to use it against this Buffalo defense. The final one, short and sweet, I got you have to play disciplined. And this obviously goes for both teams. Try to limit the penalties as usual, and really try to stay on track and keep the chains moving, and try not to get behind them too often on offense, and then try not to help on the defensive side, try not to help the opposing team's offense move the ball down the field too easily by taking dumb penalties. That's all I got for the Ravens. Moving on to the Bills, I think similar. I think you need to mix in a little bit of throwing and running. But I think whereas the Ravens, Their their big part of their offense is running the game, where I think the Bills, their most effective part of the offense is throwing the ball. I think that, like I said, you need to incorporate both. But I think if you can really get Allen on a rhythm, and tire out this defense by playing high tempo ball, I think that's really going to help the Bills out later in the game. Because we all know how hard it is when you're exhausted, especially on defense. So I think the Bills, by going just go right off the start, is really going to tire out this Ravens defense, whereas the Ravens can tire them out just by running the ball, because that also naturally tires out the defense, while also tiring out the offense. Also does like running the ball does tire out the offense a little bit more, so that's why you can't go quite as high tempo if you're the Ravens. But yeah, just really go if you're the Bills, in my opinion. I think that another big exponent to this Bills getting a win on Sunday are their chunk plays. Down the field, big chunk plays, which kind of ties into high tempo and throwing the ball. I think their big chunk plays are really going to help them out. I also think that the Bills need to make that big play, whether it be a punt return, a kick return, big interception, a forced fumble, really big chunk play, 80 90-yard play. I think considering the Ravens are really in my opinion, their offense is going to be really steady. Very just pound the rock, get it down there, get into the end zone, like 7-8 minute drives. I think by taking the ball away from the Ravens, and giving themselves more time to work with, is really going to help the Bills out in the end. Now let's compare the two teams. Starting off with the Ravens offense versus the Bills defense. In points per game, the Ravens are at third with 30.5. Yards per game, they're in first with 424.9. With third down percentage, they are 49.51%. In red zone percentage, they're 74.3, which is first. They're also first in third down percentage, if I didn't mention that. And they are third in turnovers with 11. Now for the Bills' defense. In points per game, they are 11th with 21.6. In yards per game, they are 17th with 341.5 yards. In third down percentage, they are 43.8%, which is 29th. In red zone percentage, they are 57.4%, which is 16th. And in turnovers, they have 32, which puts them in third place in the NFL. So if you believe the trends, that would predict the Baltimore Ravens to score 27 points on the Buffalo Bills Sunday evening. Now let's take a look at the Bills' offense. In points per game, they are second with 30.9. In yards per game, they are 10th with 359.1. In third down percentage, they are 7th with a 44.1%. In red zone percentage, they are second with a 71.6%. And in turnovers, they are first with 8 only throughout the whole season. Now for the Ravens defense. In points per game, they are 9th with 21.2. In yards per game, they are 10th with 324.2. In third down percentage, they are 18th with 40.1. In red zone percentage, they are 12th with 54%. And in turnovers, they're 16th with 17 forced turnovers. So if you believe the trends, that would predict 26 points for the Buffalo Bills on Sunday evening. And if you've been keeping up, that would mean a 27-26 win for the Baltimore Ravens. So the trends do predict the Baltimore Ravens to be victorious on Sunday at 6:30. But it is within the margin of error, which is 3 points. So you can expect this game to go right down to the wire and be extremely, extremely close. To wrap up our episode, I'm going to share my score prediction. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, and I also think it's going to be a very close game. My official score prediction is 38-35 for the Buffalo Bills, and I think they will move on and face the Kansas City Chiefs, beat them, and go win their first Super Bowl. Finally, Buffalo will have something to cheer about. Leave your score prediction in the bottom, in the comments. That is it for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Adios, amigos.